Hi everybody, this is Clarine from inreenesroom. Today we're going to make a Prism Gift Box, and this is about 3 by 3. Here's the front and sides, there's the back, and here's the flap that holds it all together. This is connected by magnets. You can't see them because we're going to camouflage them, and then when you open it up inside, fill it up with goodies. Okay, so let's get started. What you're going to need is a scoreboard, and a piece of paper, actually cardstock, that is 8 1/4 by 11. And this is what my project is going to, it's how I set them up. I work in Photoshop, so I'm able to print up my pages and ephemera and such that I use. So to make this box, you're going to need 2 pieces of pattern paper that are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and this is for the front and the back. You're going to need a smaller piece that is 2 3/4 by 1 3/4. And this is for the flap that came over the front there. And then you're also going to need 2 side pieces, and those measure 2 3/4 by 2 3/8. And then there's a little 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 centimeter that's going to go on the back. So this is how we're going to start out. I fussy cut the basket, which I got off of the internet, and this is the one we're going to do today, but I made a couple others as well, and this one is a little more for a man. Made it in the manly tones, I guess you'd call them. So this one, I'll show you at the end when we're done how that one turns out. And then I also made one for Valentine's, which is the holidays coming up, especially with little kisses inside. It's perfect. But today we're going to be making our gift card. Prism Gift Box. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the 8 1/4 inch side up at the top, and you're going to score at 2 5/8, and that's going to be on both sides. So you just flip it over, come over here and do 2 5/8 again. Then we'll flip it the long ways, and you're going to score at 3. I have thick paper, so I'm scoring it twice there. 6 and 9. And then we're going to just move that down a tiny bit, because I want you to, in this second square, I want you to make a little tick mark at 4 1/2 inches. And you do that by just putting a little mark right there. And we're going to do that on both sides. So we'll flip the paper over, come up here, and at 4 1/2 do another tick mark. Put a lot of pressure on there so that you can see it, and you'll be able to see it when you are working on the other side. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my valley side up score lines, and then the smaller squares I'm going to put at the top, and then I'm going to cut out these bottom 2 corners. So we'll cut this one and this one. We're not going to be using these for anything, so you can either put them in your stash or just toss them. I like to keep my green ones for making leaves and stuff. And then we're going to completely turn it upside down, and we're going to cut off this bigger square and the little one. So that it's a big long cut up here. And again, we've got the valley side up. I find it just easier to cut before you fold and burnish. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So what we have is a nice cross. Oops, got a little something sticking out over here. Let me just trim that. There we go. So now I'm going to flip the whole thing over so that the valley score line is on the table. And then we're going to take a ruler and those little, the little nick or tick marks, I guess they call them, I'm going to score from that tick mark over to this corner and give it a good score, because we're not on the scoreboard where you have the space underneath it. So this is on a flat surface. I'll do the same thing over here. Oops, I don't want to move it. And these are the side pieces that we're working on here. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Find my tick mark. There it is. And come into the corner. Got to hold that ruler pretty secure. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Coming up to that tick mark. Hope this is picking up on camera. There we go. So we've got some folds there. So then what I'm going to do is fold these up and burnish it. Same over here. That's one side. And then we'll do this side over here. There we go. So now we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish the other lines that go right up the middle of the box. And I'll turn it around and show you what we've got here. These are the sides. This is the front. This comes up and this folds over and makes the flap. What I'm going to do next is round those corners just on the flap. So this is how it's going to go together. And you're going to see me fitting this together a lot because I want to make sure it comes out perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is I already cut out my front and my back pieces, and I used a little coloring along the edges here. These are just colored pencils. You can use Distress ink, that looks nice too. So this one is going to go here on the front, but I want to have the closure done with magnets. So we're going to put the magnets underneath these coverings. So I'm going to turn this over. This is still the front piece because I want to measure a center there. So I'm going to measure 1.5 inches to find my center, because we know that these corners are 3 by 3. And I'll put a vertical line, nice big one, so I know where the center is. And then I'm going to come up, and I want that to be about 1.5 inches up. So I'm putting the edge of my ruler on that line, going up about 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to make a great big circle. That's where my magnet's going to go. So I'll put a little dab of glue right there. There's my magnet. I'll put that on there. Just hold it in place. Don't have to squish it real hard. I get my magnets through Amazon. This is the little packet that they come in. Has a nice little case to keep them. And then these are 10.1. You get 100. So hopefully that'll last for a while. I'm going to hold that magnet in place with score tape. So lock off about 1 inch or so. Stick it down real good. And I'm going to take the tape off. And then I'm just going to glue the front piece on. Making sure I get the corners. I'll come down the side. Now, I guess you could call this directional because this is kind of a fencing type background, so that you want your lines to all go the same way. So be aware of that if you use something with a pattern. Just kind of know where you're at. Okay, let's put that down. And I bring this around. Oops. Showing you once again that that's the front. That's the sides. And this is going to come over. I'm going to hold that down with the magnet. So I want the magnet to be about in this area. So again, I'm going to take my ruler, measure in 1.5 inches so that I know where the center is. And it's about 1/2 inch up. So I'm going to make my big fat circle about 1/2 inch up. And put a dab of glue there. Now, let's see which side of the magnet I'm going to use. I'm going to just drop it there. The side that is sticking to the front is the side that I'm going to stick up here on the flap. I'll just lay that in there. Then I'll cover it with score tape. And before I take that off, I'm just going to test it. Make sure I have it in the right spot. These magnets are so strong. Look how quickly that sticks. And it's in the right spot because you can hear it kind of click right into place. So we'll take that off. And then I'm going to round just 2 of the corners. And I'll use my marker. Use the fat edge. And it just adds a little bit of color, gets rid of the white. There's enough white in this design that if you didn't want to do this part, it would look perfectly fine. And I'll glue that down. And remember, whenever you glue something onto your project, don't work on your project. Move off to the side. And you always put your glue on the smaller piece, and then it goes on the bigger one. And I'll just set that in here. Okay, and then this is the front, and there's the flap. And then I'm going to put the piece on the back. I'll glue that on next while I have it out here. Again, I'm watching where my lines are going. Just kind of center that. Okay, so now we're ready to put on our side pieces here. But I want to show you a little trick with those. When you cut these things cut out and they're all kind of crumpled in together, it's hard to know when you're looking at a triangle, which part goes up and which is on the bottom. So what I did was on the bottom that is 2 3/4, I made a big mark, and you could put a big X or something, but I just made squiggles so that I know that this is the bottom that goes across here when I go to glue it. And I did that on both my pieces so that I know up from down. And then you also want to take your ruler and across the top, you want to mark that at 1 3/8. There's 4, so this is my 3/8. I just put a circle up there at the top. And the same on the other side, because we're going to cut these edges. And once those are cut, it's really hard to tell which side goes where. So here's 1 3/8. Now you can draw a line and put it back in your cutter. I like to, because it's so small, I like to just snip it from this corner up to my tick mark. The same way over here. I just snip it. And then of course we're going to have to burnish those sides again. So whichever way is good for you. If you're not comfortable cutting with the scissors, then go ahead and score it and you'll be fine. I always like to keep this side up so that I know where my ink's going. And then I'm going to know where the bottom is. Okay. So we'll glue these on next. Oops. Oopsie, come on. Here we go. Put the bottom down there and just center that. Just like that. I like the glue because we have a little bit of wiggle room. And then we'll set the other side. Remembering where your squiggly line is, you know that that goes on the bottom. That goes in here. Great. All right, so here's what we have. Here's your front. There's the sides. And then your top comes over. And it just snaps into place. Look at that. Whoopsie, pushed him in too far, but it's all right. We're going to glue him anyway. All right, so we're going to glue these 2 front pieces of the side, not the back. The back stays open, just these 2 front ones. So I'll do this one first. Oops, I got off my mark there. And you're going to take this edge and put it right up against this other score line. Right like that. And then just push it in place. Press it down. And we'll do the same on the other side. We're going to go on the front. And we'll take this straight edge here and it'll go right up against that score on the score line on the side. And we'll just press it down. Got my fingers on the inside holding that flat. If I can press it and get the glue get attached. There we go. All right. So there it is. How fun is that? All right, so now we're going to decorate it. I used, besides my little ephemera pieces, for the little fern part, I used this little Tim Holtz die for all the little parts and pieces. And that is number 662270, in case you wanted to get some of those. They're tiny, but they're fun. So we're going to go ahead and decorate this. Now I want to put, I pre-cut my basket. If you do use one of my kits, remember when you cut it out to make the cutout all the way in the back, so that when you put this on, your ferns are going to look like they're sticking inside your basket. So I'm going to attach that with pop-ups. I think 2 of them worked well. And I put that down here, kind of close to the bottom. Press those down. And then here's all the little ferns that I clipped out from Tim Holtz's kit. And I just used papers from my stash. They all had green, and I liked it. So I wanted to put, they went in 2 directions. So gotta figure out left and right here. I'm gonna go like this and put that one there. All right. So then you just start gluing them in place. I'll put that one here. I'll use my bamboo stick. Not too much, not too many projects I don't use a bamboo stick for something, so I always have that in my kit. I'm going to bring that over. Get that out of the way. Bring that over here. Have it going that way. And this other one I'll have going the other way so that it looks like it's draping. And I'll put that one in there. Get a couple of leaves to come in the front so it looks kind of drapes over a little bit. And then I'll just put these others in the background. Now, of course, you can put as many in there as you want, whatever looks good to you, or however you want to do it, or if you want to put something else in there, you can too. This one I'm just going to put in the front. Have it stick like that. And I think I'll just put in one more. Right in the middle back here, so I can get a little bit of height. There we go. You don't want them to be perfect, but you want them to be kind of look like they are growing out like that. Okay, now I have 2 sentiments that I put in here. The one that I made was thank you, so I'm just going to put this one as celebrate, just to be different. And I'm going to kind of slant it a little bit. So I'll glue this. You could use pop-ups if you're going to put anything underneath it, but I don't think I'm going to do that. So I'll just put this in here, kind of slant it a little bit. And the reason I'm slanting it is I wanted to put one of these longer pieces right down here, just to kind of bring your design in. And I'm going to just put that right there. Now on the back of mine, I put a little bit of the greenery in the corner of the sentiment and one of the little flowers that I used. And the flowers I got from just a punch. It was just a little floral punch. So I'll bring in some of those. Let me put my sentiment page on the back side. And this just gets centered right there. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of the greenery ones on the back of this one too, just to carry the theme around. And I'll put one here. And I've got another one over here somewhere. Yeah, when I cut these out, I flipped my pattern paper over. I would do one on the side for green and then one on the whatever was on the back side, so that you can have two different directions going. And I'll put this guy here. Otherwise, all of the floral would be all going in one direction. Now I'm going to put one of the little hearts, I'm sorry, one of the little flowers in here. So what I did was I stamped them out, and then I took, let's use this, and just made like a little, circle in your palm. Put a dab of glue in the corner. This is where I'm going to put the flower. Right like that. And then I'm going to take a little rhinestone. Now these are the tiniest rhinestones I've ever used, but you just peel them off, and I just kind of put them on the side so that the glue grabs it. If you haven't got a lot of glue on your fingertips. And just lay that guy in there. Press it in with my bamboo stick. There. And then when this is dry, you can bring your little petals up. But for right now, let's let it dry. And then that'll be your back. So I wanted to, of course, carry that theme through. So I'll do another one. Let's put these out here, and let me just do a couple more. This just gives it a little dimension if you can get them to stand up. Okay, so I'm going to put, I think I put one in the corner here. I'll put a little dab of glue. And I think I'll stick one up here. And one more right here. Now I'll put it inside the basket, put it right in the middle of the basket. So I'll stick these guys down. Tweezers probably would have been a good idea to bring in. Trying to help pick these up. And then I'm going to put one more flower right here in the corner. And here's those teeny tiny little rhinestones. And just get it off the, oops. Got to put a little dab of glue inside to hold it. Now, of course, you've probably already thought, well, shoot, I can just use regular silk flowers in here, tinies. Yeah, you can. Whatever you've got in your stash. Put that one in there. You know, I think this is the hardest part, is getting these little rhinestones in there. But I'm going to do it. There we go. And one more. Come on, there we go. Use my little bamboo stick just to put a little pressure on there so it stays in the center. And then we'll give it some time to dry. I'm just tapping them in. And then later on, when they're completely dry, I can flip up these little petals. And there you have it. Isn't that fun? And then you pop them up, fill them up with a fun treat. This would even be good for a money card. You can put a money card in there. And then here's your back. Okay, so there's that guy. And then I wanted to show you the very first one that I did was a Valentine. Of course, it has his medal there. And then I continued on the back with some little flowers. And he has his goodies inside. And then another one is a birthday wishes. I used the stars, and I got the vase off of the internet, but the background and these little stars that I got from an old digital kit that I had. It's called He's the Man by Veronica Spriggs, and I've just kept it all these years and use it for a lot of different things. So there's the back. Here we have it. Prism Gift Box. Thanks for coming by today, guys.